So Dan, just out of curiosity, when we go live on YouTube, what is usually the attendance rate? Like how many people are usually attending during the live stream?
I couldn't tell you that. I have no, I'll have to ask Tom.
Because I know, doesn't it have like a number of like, and then it'll say,
I'm sure it does. I
Yeah.
don't know what that
I was
is.
just out of curiosity, more than anything.
It looks like we have 38 subscribers.
All right, well, that's a good number. It's more than come to our actual meetings.
It's true.
Live stream.
I couldn't tell you that. I have no, I'll have to ask Tom. Okay, so somebody here has YouTube going on in the background, so we need to turn that off. I'm sure it does. I don't know what that
I was
is.
just out of curiosity.
Not me.
Not me either.
It looks like we have 2 subscribers.
All right. It's more.
Okay, now one was me. I never turned it off. Took
Oh,
it off.
nice.
So it's your fault.
We can throw blame at us.
There we go. I'm so not used to that. All right. So we have 1, 2.
All right, Lizette's saying she's having trouble connecting. Let me see if I can send her.
Yeah, she's the only one that's missing at the moment.
If she just puts in the meeting ID and the password, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
did it.
I'm gonna just send her a snap of that and see if that helps.
I just click on the link from the email Dan sent.
Yeah, that's, she says she's, I don't know, she says she's having problems, so I just sent her that.
Yeah, clicking on the link doesn't work for me. I have to go to Skype and enter the,
Really?
yeah, I don't know why.
I hate technology. You know what? When I write notes with a pencil, they are always there when I go back.
All right, we're going to get started. So at this moment, I'm going to ask for a roll call.
Mr. Autry.
Here.
Mr. Ball,
Here,
Mr. Bohm,
here.
Ms. Mustin,
Here.
Ms. Martinez. I'll note her absent for now. Ms. Morris,
Here.
Ms. Stevens, Ms. Rosamano,
Here.
Mr. Vadalaire, and Ms. DeFazio.
Here.
I have one absent so far, trying to log on.
Hold on, I'm texting her right now.
I'm gonna keep her logged in.
Yeah, we're trying.
Okay. The Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which time any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Board of Education Policy 0162 and the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the borough, in the board office and at Bound High School, and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Borough Clerk, South Bound Board of Education, and any person who's requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're up to President's comments.
I hope everyone is faring well. I'm glad to hear that some things are starting to open and there might be some light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, when it comes to education, we still have no idea in New York and we have no idea in New Jersey what that's going to look like in September. So it's sort of, I know I'm a little unnerved by it, and I'm sure our faculty and staff are the same, but whatever it is that we do going forward, you know, hopefully we can work as a team to make sure that whatever form it looks like, that the kids are just getting the best of what they need. And I thank them all for pitching and doing just that.
Okay. Anything else, Michelle?
No, I'm still trying to get Ms. Martinez into this meeting. So,
Do you want me to email her another link?
yeah, why don't you do that and I'll try and,
Okay. If Miss Stevens, if you would be so kind, while I'm doing that, if you could read the students of the month for me.
Sure. I'm just scrolling down. Okay, so the June Bound Brook School District Students of the Month, starting with Lamont and Lamont Annex School Pre-Kindergarten, Adriana Ferguson. Kindergarten, Evan Serrano. First grade, Adrian Olivo. In Lafayette School, we have Carlos Ponton. Third grade, Ava Puga. In Smalley School, Josephine Virano. In fifth grade, Alexia Zuleta Arriola. Sixth grade, Community Middle School, Fabian Cacique. Seventh grade, Valeria Barbosa. Eighth grade, Tyler Hayes. And in the high school, ninth grade, Jarrell Fields. 10th grade, Diamond Williams. 11th grade, Nicole Romero. And 12th grade, Cecilia Sanchez Guzman. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody. And our GEM awards for the month of June, Lamont Annex is Karen Oaks Bullard. Lafayette is Demetrius Guilford. Smalley is Laura Falcone. Community Middle School, Hanir Badir. Bound Brook High School is Deborah Paulson. And for the Bound Brook School District, it's Jessica Spinner. With that, I just have a couple quick items for the board. The first one is we need to schedule a board retreat to set board goals for this upcoming year. I was hoping that we could schedule something on July 7th, which is a Tuesday. If you guys can check your calendars and let me know.
I will be in the Outer Banks.
Okay, so July 7th is now out. How about we say this? Email me with dates that you're available after July 6th so we can get together in a room so we can set some board goals sometime in July. And I'll try and organize this and put this together for us because we need to set the board goals to move forward for next year. We also have to talk about, do we need to make any adjustments to our strategic plan if necessary? This week we will have our Ed Committee meeting, which will be Thursday at 12:30 p.m. They'll be going over summer assignments, and I know we're a little bit behind schedule with everything, but we got to do summer assignments and get that out. We also need to go over homework procedures with Ed Committee now that that's out of policy. Okay. So we've gone over that. Now we are up to public content for agenda items only. And agenda items only, we have 5 comments so far. And the first one is from Mrs. O'Reilly, 745 Schoolhouse Lane, pass-fail option. Please explain how pass-fail option, if approved, would work. Would students be given the option to get a letter grade opposed to pass-fail? How would pass as an option to letter grade affect their transcript, class rank? Lastly, would students be given the opportunity to do summer school if they fail? Would summer school be online or in a building with social distancing precautions? The pass-fail option will be up to the students whether they want to take the pass-fail option. If a student fails, we do have summer school, but it will be done virtually. There will be nothing in our buildings. The pass-fail option could potentially have some impact on class rank, again, because it's a pass-fail option and it has an automatic weight to it. I don't know exactly what that weight is, but obviously if you're a student and you have a very high GPA, you probably would want to take your number grade versus a letter grade at that point in time. Question number 2, Patricia O'Reilly, 745 Schoolhouse Lane. I cannot see today's meeting. It says live now. I know people are on, so I think we're good. Lauren Paxton. Are any new hirees related or have any prior connections to any current employees? Not to my knowledge. Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street, BOE policy changes. Where can we see the language for the proposed BOE policy changes? Again, they should be posted on the website as far as I know with the agenda. Number 5. Okay, that was a mistake. So there are no more.
Dan, I just had a question because he talked about the policy. I know we were asking to make sure that wherever the changes were, they were highlighted. I didn't see that for this round. Is that not gonna? Because I think, didn't we, I think we had asked at one point that we didn't, to only like, at least highlight or indicate somewhere within the policies what the actual change was. Because I know most of them are done by the company that does the policy change because
And they're
things
just,
change.
they're just usually strike throughs on those changes. So it's just usually like it'll come through with strike changes.
Yeah, I didn't really see those, and so they could have been additions. So like, I know that it's another company that does that for us, based on,
I can have that forwarded out to you for the policies that are on here for tonight.
right, because I know before we make them final, I think people would want to, really look through there. I mean, most of them we really can't change anyway, because I'm assuming these are things that are handed down basically because a decision was made in the law, Debbie, and then our policy company then makes sure that they go through our policies to make sure that we're in line with whatever was handed down. Is that correct?
That's typically how it works, yes.
Okay, because I think, because there are a lot of new people on the board, so I think, if we had a policy that was just created by us for our own, our own school community, that's different than what we're getting tonight. What we're getting tonight is from the state, correct?
Yeah, these are probably little edits from the state. Off the top of my head, I think one is and again, I'm working off the top of my head because I didn't see all the policies that were listed. I could probably take a fast look up here on the agenda. Hold on a second.
I had asked for the same thing when looking over the policies. If the strike throughs
Right.
or changes could be highlighted, because some of them are very obvious depending on the length, and some of them it's like you're looking for, is it an and or has it become an or?
Can't hear her.
Yeah, like
Can't hear me?
the domestic violence
Yeah,
policy.
you gotta bring it up a little bit.
There probably were some strike throughs or some verbiage changes,
Right.
depending on some law edits. Health and phys ed was again, probably some verbiage changes. The postnatals are probably those two are brand new. That's a requirement for us to have a lactate room in schools. The medications revised, supervisor of construction's revised, school year, school day, and school closings, those are revised just based upon obviously going virtual and things like that. And the reporting missing and abused children was also revised. So I'll have Taryn send that stuff out to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other comments before we move on? Oh, wait, I got Lizette finally. There she is. She's in.
Yay.
All right. So now we are up to minutes for 5/18. So approval of the minutes. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. We did get one more question. There is from Lauren Paxton, 10 Bay Street policy. There's no language on the agenda. Again, those are attachments to the agenda. I think you would have to click on each one of those. It's electronic. Okay. So approval of minutes from the 5/18/20 board meeting. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Ms. Stevens, a second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bohm. Discussion.
I have to abstain.
Mr. Bohm has to abstain. Anybody else? Roll call.
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Bohm's abstaining. Ms. Mussin,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire,
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio.
Yes.
Carries.
Okay. So we are up to personnel resolutions. Resolved, the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under district and high school 6.2 through 6.7. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fazio.
Second.
Second, Ms. Morris. Discussion.
No.
Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Bohm,
Yes.
Ms. Mussin,
Yes. Forgot to unmute.
gotcha. Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear you, sorry. And Ms. DeFazio,
Yes.
motion carries.
We are up to section 7, approval of middle and elementary personnel resolutions. Resolved, the superintendent recommends for approval of resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under middle and elementary schools 7.2 through 7.6. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fazio. Second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bohm. Discussion.
I just had a question about the assignment changes in the secretaries. Was that a request or we just switching things up?
I believe we're moving 2 secretaries. One was a request. One was a move because obviously we also reduced by a secretary in the district.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Bohm,
Yes.
Ms. Mussin,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
okay. Mr. Vadalaire,
Abstaining.
Did I not hear it?
He said abstain.
Abstain?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
sorry.
Going in and out, so that's probably.
And Ms. DeFazio,
Yes.
motion carries.
We are up to section 8, approval of district and high school education resolutions. Resolved that the Bamberg Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in education resolutions under district and high school. We only have one, it's 8.2, the pass-fail option for the 4th marking period for grades 7 through 12. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fazio. Second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bale. Discussion.
I have a question about the pass-fail option and how soon are we going to share that information, a document with the printed explanation to all the parents in the district?
If it passes tonight, it will probably go out tomorrow.
Okay.
I have a question also. How does this policy compare to other districts that we know of? And how did we come up with the 85%?
I'm not sure what you mean by the 85%. I'm thinking you're meaning the weighted average for the pass versus the fail.
Is it, isn't the P equivalent to 85%?
He is equivalent
Yeah.
to 85, yeah. Again, I think that was an internal decision on that one. You'd probably have to talk to our principals about that. I wasn't really involved in that, but the pass-fail option is pretty much what quite a few schools are doing throughout the area on the fourth marking period, just because we went virtual. And obviously, virtual is new, and everybody had some concerns with not enough one-on-one contact or personal contact with teachers.
And how much time will parents/students have to let you know, like the ones who scored higher than that? How much time will they have to let you know what their preference is?
Well, we're gonna get it out tomorrow. I would think they would have to let us know by the 15th, which is the last day of school. I would also think that if anybody has above an 85, that we probably would discourage them from taking a letter grade, because that would
Certainly.
negatively affect them.
Will the students have their grades by the 15th?
No, they will not. No, they will not.
Because I know at the university, the students saw what their final grades were and then made the decision. I think it might be.
The students and parents should be able to see what the average is currently in Genesis.
I'm not sure that Genesis, they usually shut Genesis off in terms of grades during the last week of school, so we might want to check that.
I will. We will make sure that they have access to see what the grade is before they make their choice.
Great.
Any other comments?
Nope.
Roll call.
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Bohm,
Yes.
Ms. Musson,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire,
Yes.
and Ms. DeFazio.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Section 9, approval of policies, district and high school. Resolved, the Bamberg Board of Education approves resolutions as outlined in policy resolutions under district and high school. First reading of revised and new policies and regulations. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fazio. Second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Morris. Discussion.
As long as we can get before the final vote on this, if we could just get, the policies, indicated what got changed in them.
It will be out tomorrow.
Thank you.
And if I happen to have it on my computer before I leave, you'll have it tonight.
Okay.
I just have one question for the administration and medication.
Yep.
It says that school nurses or designee will be available on site, like at the school. So since we have one nurse that's going to be covering 2 different buildings, are we going to have a designee in each building on top of the nurse that's floating?
No. Only a nurse will give out medication. So the designee may be a nurse from a different building. So in other words, sometimes our designee, and I'll give you an example, sometimes the nurse at Smalley's absent. So sometimes we have to have the nurse from community school go all the way over to Smalley school to give out medication. We do not let anybody other than a nurse give out medication.
It was specifically like in reference to like allergic reaction, like an EpiPen or something along those lines.
Well, an EpiPen is different. An EpiPen, if there's a medical emergency, we have people trained who can administer those things in every building.
Okay.
We have a list of people who can do that.
Okay.
Just like we have a list of people who can do CPR, we have a list of people who can do first aid, we have a list of people who can give an EpiPen, so on.
So this policy just relates to students who require medication every day, who come down to the nurse, right? Okay.
Correct. The administer is actually physically giving medication. Any other comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Baum,
Yes.
Ms. Musson,
Yes.
Yes.
yes?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire,
Yes.
and Ms. DeFazio.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we're up to section 10, financial resolutions. Resolve the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in financial resolutions 10.2 through 10.18. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Fazio, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Martinez, discussion.
Yeah, Dan, I see 3 different grants that we're getting. Can you just speak to these grants and how we got them and what they're for? We have the ESSA grant.
Yeah, that's part of our normal title grants.
Mhm.
And that's just, this is the time of year that we get it. So that's our IDEA money. That's our Title I money, Title II, Title III, Title IV money. The CARES grant is, that's the $627,000 that we got. That's part of the federal stimulus. And then the illicit laws compliance grant, that is for, we already did this work. This is for us to recoup some money on the panic buttons and everything else that we did a year ago.
How does that affect our overall budget for next year?
Obviously, with the loss of $2 million, it helps stabilize the budget a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so the 600 something thousand from the CARES helps, that offsets the 1.9, whatever, that's not included in that?
Yeah, because what we did was we're using that to offset the technology cut.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So we're allowed to use that CARES money for certain things that were impacted by COVID. So a lot of our technology, obviously, because we went virtual, is covered underneath that money. So what we did was we took that money and basically supplanted what we were going to use in our own budget with that money.
Gotcha.
Okay. No, that's good.
Do you know if we're getting any more funding through the government, whether it's state or federal, or is this going to be pretty much like a flat, this is how much your budget's going to be, we'll go from here?
What I would tell you is I would not anticipate any further money coming to us. What I would anticipate is further reduction.
So even more than the 1.9 we lost?
Again, it's hard to say, Dom, because it's all going to be predicated on revenue. Their projection right now between the end of this year and next year is a loss of $10 billion in revenue. That $10 billion in revenue may turn out to be 12 billion, 13 billion, 14 billion in revenue. I don't know how they make that up. Now, the only thing I will say is I do believe that they did pass the resolution to allow the governor to borrow money to make up some shortfalls. I don't think he's going to borrow $12 billion or $10 billion. I think he's just going to borrow, anything from that 10 billion to 12 or 13 billion as a stopgap. But if it gets really bad, I would anticipate a further cut. But I would hope to be able. My prediction is we'll be able to get through the year where we're at.
Do we know when we'll lose money or gain more money in any case? Like, does he have a cutoff, or is it just he'll tell us when he knows?
There is no way to predict the state right now. We can't. I'll give you a prime example. Graduation, right? We fought very hard to do what we wanted to do with graduation, and then he gives the approval for July 6th to do what we did last week. And he made it sound like he was giving approval for everybody to do these big elaborate graduation ceremonies. And that was not the case at all, because once you got the memo and you read the memo, it was restricted. It was restricted to the number of people you can have. So now schools are planning on doing these graduation ceremonies based upon the executive order of 25 people and doing multiple graduations. So again, it all depends on what changes. Like the other day, we were told, our ES5 for special ed students is going to be virtual. So we send out a letter that it's going to be all virtual. And 2 days later, the governor's on TV saying, well, some services we may have in the buildings. Well, you're not helping us. You're telling us one thing and 2 days later, you changed your mind. How can we possibly plan? My biggest fear is, as we're trying to get ready to open up schools, is you're going to tell us, to come up with a hybrid of some kind of plan, or we're going to open up fully or whatever it is. And we're going to spend 2 months getting ready to do it. And then all of a sudden you change your mind. It's difficult.
Right.
We're going to try and be as flexible as we can, but it's becoming very difficult.
The devil is in the details. It's not so much the executive order as the administrative orders. That's where they outline, like, for as much as he gives an executive order, you got to wait until the administrative guidelines come out, the administrative order, for more and clearer direction. And regarding reopening, I think we have to prepare for all scenarios, because I don't see him coming out with anything declarative other than not opening or everybody's open, figure it out.
But the hard part is he was on, was it Fox News yesterday? It was either Fox News or NBC, where he's basically saying schools are going to be open in September. But yet DOE is telling us we don't see a road to opening. You see what I'm saying? We're getting we're getting mixed messages all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, schools are going to be open in September. He didn't say the buildings will be.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. The devil is in the details. School's going to be open in September, but where?
Right.
My understanding is that the original date to come up with some sort of announcement was between June 1st and June 15th, and that it's now been pushed back between June 15th and June 30th. So I think we'll know July 1.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, until it gets pushed back again.
Exactly.
I'm not taking that bet at all.
Well, they
We're
need to
still-
provide time for teachers to prepare if they're going to tell everyone it's online. So it's going to be hybrid. Everybody's going to have to invest an extra amount of time. There's no avoiding it.
Yeah. So.
I think, aren't we currently through state of emergency? Didn't he do it till July 7th?
Yes. He did it for another 30 days.
Yeah. So I wouldn't expect anything
Before then.
declarative before that date.
Well, let's finish with section 10 here. Mike, can we get a roll call?
Mr. Autry,
Yes.
Mr. Ball,
Yes.
Mr. Bohm,
Yes.
Ms. Musson,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalaire,
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Other matters to come before the board or new business. I just have one thing before anybody says anything. We did go out for an RFP for aides and subs, and I think that due date is coming up this week, correct, Mike?
16th, we're calling the
Okay.
bid opening is the 16th, and it'll be on for next agenda, hopefully.
22nd. All right. So
Yes.
we'll be awarding that on the 22nd, just so everybody is aware. Okay. Back to you guys.
I know you had sent up some Zoom meetings for policy. The last time we met, we just talked about the policy for homework, and we found that there's really no change to the actual policy. It's in how it's implemented in each school. But I know we had talked about suspension, so I know there were some people that had asked. I know Lizeth and Trisha had both asked to be on that for that specific topic. Can we separate those things and make sure that they're included for
I-
those?
Well, Lizeth was always on policy, so we had another spot on policy, so I add Tricia on policy. Again, I think we still need, when we discussed this already, Michelle, we need a standing policy because we also need to, I still think we need to tackle grading if we have a virtual portion of school next year, we have some sort of hybrid schooling next year. I'd like to have
Yes,
a discussion about grading and have some sort of plan on that. And again, with the questions we seem to be having with policy, reinstituting the policy committee may be a good thing.
yes, absolutely.
Any other matters or any new business?
I've heard really good feedback about the high school graduations, and I thank everybody for their time standing out there for so many hours, shepherding each student through. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, it was really nice. We got a lot of good feedback from everybody that came through. My only concern probably was Ed Smith. At one point in time, I never saw a shade of red on a human being like Ed, but he pulled through pretty well. So I was kind of happy about that. I know I'm fair skinned, but he was worse than I was, and I was really feeling for him out there. But it went really well. A lot of good feedback from all of our parents and our kids. And I'm glad that the executive order changed to where we can have a few more people there for families and things like that. So that worked out well as well. And yeah, it went really well. It'll be, we're going to have the video all set. It's going to be on YouTube Monday night at 6 o'clock on June 15th, like our normal graduation time. And there'll be a downloadable link for all the seniors to download graduation as a keepsake as well.
Good.
Nice.
Anything else? All right. We are moving on to open for the public for discussion items. So I want to make sure I get the right one. Here we go. Patricia O'Reilly, 745 Schoolhouse Lane. First of all, hopefully you saw my first question regarding the agenda item that I posted previously. Yes, we did. I have been having trouble with my laptop. Not sure if it went through. My question for the non-agenda item has to do with the pandemic plan. I thought the pandemic plan for school reopening in the fall would be on the website. We haven't done our pandemic plan for reopening of school. We're in the committee phase of that. We are still waiting on guidance from the Department of Education and the state officials. Until we get some guidance, there is going to be no way of us putting together a plan and putting anything out for parents to give parents any sense of comfort on how we're going to open without some guidance from the state. Is it on the website and where can we find it? Parents for opening.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Say, would it be on May 20th, the School Board Association came out with the new normal? It's like 30-page document. Would sharing that on the website doesn't really answer many questions, but I mean, it's out there publicly anyway.
There's so many different things out there publicly. I don't want to muddy the waters. You got the league group, School Board Association is part of the league group. The league group consists of NJEA, NJPSA, NJASA, School Boards Association, and they're working in a collaborative effort with the governor's office on school reopening plans. And they seem to be, I don't want to say all over the map, but there's not a consistent message coming out of the league group right now. I don't want to start posting things and then give people the impression this is exactly what we're doing or this is exactly how things are going to be. Because once we post something on our website, it kind of makes it official that's what we're doing. I don't necessarily want to do that because then it may be totally different what comes out of DOE at that point in time.
Right. No, this is just the collaborative. It's not outlining anything specifically. It's just bringing up all of the different questions that all of those groups are trying to process and put together. It's like you know, just
Like a
the-
brainstorming thing, like the.
Thank you. Yes, I couldn't
Yeah.
think, thank you. Couldn't think of the word. Emotional, hybrid, you know, mental.
Joanna, who put that out? Who was that?
The
School Boards
School Board
Association.
Association?
The school boards? All right.
Yeah, they did it May 20th.
I'll take a look at it and then I'll make a decision on whether it should go up on the website or not.
Okay.
So our next question is from Patricia O'Reilly, 745 Schoolhouse Lane. Given everything going on in the country regarding law enforcement, we have seen that proactive community outreach works to foster safe communities. What does the SRO do in schools to promote safety? I am also wondering what programs there are in the pipeline to foster good communication relations between police, teachers, staff, students, and schools. I am not sure if schools are still doing DARE programs. How are parents involved in these programs given by local police departments? The DARE program, I do not believe exists anymore. We do some work with our police department in classrooms. Our SRO is very visible to all of our students and staff members. We have a very good relationship with our SRO and our police department. He works very hard to have a very good relationship with all of our students. As for parents being involved with the local police department, that's more of an issue, more of a question for parents to talk to the local police department. For us, we have a very good relationship with the local police department, and our SRO officer has a very good relationship with all of our students. And he was at graduation every day, talking to every single kid that came through as well. Number 3, Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street. There is no link on the agenda for proposed BOE changes. I'm not sure what proposed BOE changes you are
It's not
asking.
policy, probably.
Yeah, if it's policy, there are links on there. Sue Del Conte, high school teacher. The September 25th, 2017 minutes reference a donation from the estate of Henrietta Spicinieri to be given to the high school. Has the estate been resolved? What was the amount and what was the donation earmarked for? I don't have a clue. I will.
We
have to
actually just
find that
we
out.
actually just got those funds pretty recently this year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did we get a
I can
letter
get
with
you
it?
I can get you the dollar amount on that settlement.
Okay. I'll get
Um,
back to you, Sue, on that because I'm not sure. I'll have
Give
to
me
get back.
the name of the person, Dr. Gallagher, who asked that question.
Sue Del Conte.
Del Conte. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street. Dr. Gallagher, you state we reduced our secretaries by 1. Who or which position was reduced? If I follow the BO meetings correctly, 1 secretary retired and 1 was transferred from the BOE offices into that position, so the number of secretaries is the same. No, it is not the same. We reduced 1 secretary over at the Lamont Annex building. So we have only 1 secretary over there now instead of 2. Okay. Next one, Patricia O'Reilly, 745 Schoolhouse Lane. Who is Richard Mallon? He sends lots of emails. He is one of the people who does a lot of communications and is a parent liaison or second parent liaison and translator for the district. Okay, number 7, Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street. Why do you need an RFP for aides and subs? What is the district planning hoping to do with them? Well, RFP is for subservices. We have to send those requests for proposals out legally because of the amount of the contract for aides and subs. Our current contract with Insight was taken over by another company, which triggers us to automatically have to do an RFP to get a new company, whether it's that new company that is taking over for Insight or a different company altogether. So that's just a legal matter we have to do. Next one, number 8, Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street. Where can I find the link to the BOE policy changes because they're not on the agenda? Again,
That's the same question.
Yeah, I will have to get that.
If it's just a first reading, is that something that will be on as a link, or is that does that?
That
have
goes
to
only to
wait?
the board. Those
Right,
changes
maybe
will
that's
only
the-
go to the board.
Right, because right now they're in first reading,
Right,
so maybe that's why the public doesn't have, until we vote on it
yeah,
at the next, well, I would assume at the next meeting, then it will become something for
yeah,
the,
that is right. That is correct. My apologies.
Would it be okay to just list the policy numbers?
Well, we have to list the name of the policy, not just the policy number.
Well, just list them. We don't have to go into detail what's being
Right.
changed or not, but just,
So when you click on it,
Well, I see
That is
it's
there.
it's on public content. It says the policy number on board docs, and then it has the list of the numbers and titles. But I mean, it doesn't tell you the specifics of the content.
yeah, it does.
No, I meant like the PD. They don't have the PDFs public to the public yet. Is what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it
they're
has
not to
numbers and
the,
it's-
they're not to the public because you haven't approved them yet. You have to approve
Correct.
before they can go to the public.
Correct.
but
Yeah.
there's something there that's
Yes.
other than just.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
the numbers are
taking that
there.
Out.
No,
Yeah,
the
the
numbers
policy
and the
numbers
titles are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lauren Paxton, 10 Pay Street. The number of secretaries remain the same despite the move. There was no reduction in secretaries. Yes, there is a reduction of secretaries. There's now 2 in special services, and there's only 1 at Lamont and Lamont Annex. There's a reduction of 1 secretary in the district. Okay, so all of our buildings have 1 secretary. There's 1 for Lamont and Lamont Annex, and there's now 2 in special services. We reduced 1 secretary overall. All right, we'll give it another minute or so, because I don't see any more comments yet. Just a fast note, after this open for the public, the board is going to vote to go into executive session. At that point in time, the board is going to be in executive session, and they're going to adjourn from executive session. There will be no action taken after executive session, and they're not coming back out in public after executive session. So once they vote to go into executive session, I will be ending this meeting, and they will be rejoining a different Zoom meeting for their executive session. Okay, we have another comment coming in. All right, Lauren Pax, 10 P Street. You added a special service secretary and the number stays the same. Oh my gosh. Okay, we added a secretary in the initial budget. So we were adding a secretary in the initial budget that we approved. Then we got cut money after the initial budget was approved. And that $1.9 million that was cut, we then cut a secretarial position out of the budget. We chose to keep the 2 secretary positions in special services, one of which was the new position, and we reduced a position at Lamont Annex. Lauren Paxton, 10 Page Street. You're rolling your eyes at me, but you said that you reduced a secretary position, yet you still have the same number of secretaries. Lauren, we proposed a new budget which added a secretary position to the district. That was in our proposed budget that was approved by the board in April. They approved a brand new secretary position to the budget. So our secretaries were going up by one in the budget. Then we were cut after the budget was approved, $1.9 million. So we had to make cuts out of our approved budget for $1.9 million. One of those cuts was a secretarial position. That secretarial position that was cut is coming out of Lamont Annex. I hope that clarifies it for you. So we added a secretary position to the budget. The board approved the budget. Later on, the governor changed the amount of state aid that we received. Therefore, we had to go back in and make cuts. One of those cuts was a secretarial position. That secretarial position we chose to cut was one of those positions at Lamont Annex.
So Dr. Gallagher, I think what he's trying to say is who we have there now, the number we have now is going to be the same we have next year because we're not going to fill the new position because the new position got cut. But what we did is we filled the new position and cut someone out of Lamont Annex to be over there. Is that correct?
You can view it that way, yes.
Okay. So we're getting rid of a secretary in Lamont Annex, putting her in special services because we no longer have the funds to have the extra one that we thought we were going to get.
Right, just like some positions that were open that had been in the budget, that were in the budget last year and not being filled next year.
Okay. Let's hope that.
The amount of secretaries has not actually changed,
No, it was supposed to go up by one.
but it didn't. I think that's what,
Right.
it's the same.
Do you want to move into executive session, Michelle? Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive. From, I guess, Debbie, what number, like what is it, what do we have to say, what the
I would call it personnel.
personnel, Okay, for personnel? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we will cross our fingers that we can transition to the next meeting without difficulty. And we will just adjourn from there.
Okay, just as a reminder for everybody who's watching on YouTube, the board is going into executive session. They are going to adjourn from executive session and there will be no action taken. Everybody have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
Two.